be beaming, I be booming down that block. Everywhere you go, you know they know I'm hot.
What's up? What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are doing well. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you. Pull up a seat. I hope you enjoyed the content. And before we get into this video, I want to ask that you like, comment, share, subscribe. Go ahead and tap that bell while you're at it so you're notified anytime I drop a brand new video, go live, or schedule a premiere. All right, y'all, so I am back with another mukbang, and today we eat some soul food. Now, this is a little different than what I might eat, like if I was at a soul food restaurant, but nonetheless, it's still soul food. So I got some fried cabbage, some wild rice, and some fried oyster mushrooms. Normally, I would have fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, you know, some yams, some greens, and all that good stuff, but I ain't feel like doing all that. Also, I was gonna make some white rice and gravy, but I felt like wild rice was a better option since I already felt like I was doing a lot with these fried mushrooms. So anyways, we're about to get to it. I love to put hot sauce on my fried mushrooms, pork chops, fried chicken. I love that. I love trapeze. The vinegar flavor is my favorite. So I got my hot sauce on my mushroom. These are oyster mushrooms, like I mentioned, so you can see nice and fried, nice and golden. The batter is good. I haven't had wild rice in a minute. Mommy, you like wild rice?
I don't eat too much wild rice.
You not a fan? Not really? Y'all say hi to Auntie Nisi.
Hey, GP fam, how are you?
Y'all gonna see Auntie Nisi soon. Maybe me and her do a challenge. So I could whoop on it like I usually do.
Look, no.
What?
You don't be always whooping on me now. You may have won a few times. But don't over there and get a big head over there.
Whatever. I will say this too, is that I fried these. Got the top on too. I fried these mushrooms. If y'all know anything else about these cooking videos and mukbangs and stuff like that, it's so hard, you know, eating stuff right away because you got to set up, you got to clean up, you got to do this, you got to do that. So these were way crunchier when I first fried them. But they still taste good. So speaking of Auntie Nisi, for anybody out there that doesn't know, my mom has a plus size boutique. It's called SHIRLEY Girl Boutique, and she is going to be having a Black Friday sale, y'all, that starts on the 15th. So it's starting early, and she's giving 40% off the entire website, y'all. The entire website. So if you or someone you know wants something that's a 1X to a 3X, she got you covered. Like, she got some fire pieces. I'm not even gonna lie, she does. So I'm going to include the link below. And Mom, they don't need a code or anything, right?
Nope.
Okay, so as of the 15th, everything is just gonna be marked down. So you just go on there, go wild, lose your mind, get yourself something nice, and that's it. So like I said, the link is below. I'll include her link and also her Instagram page if you want to give her a follow.
Yes, please.
You say it's a cabbage?
Mm-mm.
That's good.
You enjoying that meal?
I'm hungry too. Y'all, I know y'all might be kind of surprised, but I'm back with another story time. I'm gonna get into that shortly. I just came up with this idea like 15 minutes ago. So I think y'all gonna like it. I hope I remember all the details. This is good. Which is good. I've been getting a ton of questions about restock. When am I going to be restocked for my seasonings? I will be restocked like the 20-something of this month. I'll be restocked. In the meantime, I did get a small shipment of Cajun lemon pepper. So I put like 50 of them up on the website on sale for $9.99. The regular price is $12.99. I have like 5 bottles left. So if anybody wants to catch that sale price, you can. Or, I mean, if you just want to wait until the jalapeno garlic pepper is available too, I understand that as well. But if you want to stock up on occasion, you can at a discounted price. No code necessary. Yeah, I am full. We about to get into the story time, but before we do, I just want to give a few words of encouragement. You know, life is a lot. It is. Like sometimes after the day is over, I've done everything, been on the go, you know, did this, did that, had a meeting, had to record, had to do this, had to write, blah, 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 right? And I know a lot of us have a lot on our table. I lay down at night and I'm like, damn, I got to get up and do this shit all over again tomorrow. Like sometimes it just really blows my mind that we got to do this stuff every day, right? And I think in all of this, what I wanted to say is that I think a lot of us put pressure on ourselves, you know, we do. And, you know, we are very quick to give other people grace, you know what I'm saying? Don't forget to give yourself grace as well, right? A lot is going on. We got a lot on our plate. You got kids, you got a partner, a husband, a wife. You know, you might be taking care of your parents or whatever is going on. You know, you got to take care of your house. You got a project, a home improvement project, whatever it is. Just give yourself some grace. You know what I'm saying? Like give yourself a minute. Okay, give yourself a pat on the back for the things that you have done. There's a lot that you've done and accomplished, and you probably haven't even looked back to even see how much you've done. You know, you've done a lot. So give yourself a pat on the back, but also give yourself some grace, please. Like, we're going to fall short. We are, you know, and that's not always our intentions. You know, sometimes you look up and the day just gets away from you, you know, and we sit around and beat ourselves up. We do, you know, and I'll tell you what, once you in the hole of beating yourself up, it's very easy to keep digging that hole deeper and deeper and deeper. So go ahead and pull yourself up out of that hole. Give yourself credit. You know what I'm saying? Do something for yourself. You know, go take a bath, go take a walk, you know, call somebody that always gives you a good laugh, something. Do something for yourself to put you in a good headspace. And tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is a brand new day where you could do better. You know what I'm saying? Or not. Maybe you'll rest tomorrow. Maybe that's the gift to yourself is to rest. I don't know. But either way, you know, please give yourself grace. And that's something I'm speaking from my own experience of me having to extend grace to myself. You know what I'm saying? And also just look back, like I said, and give myself credit for so many things that I have accomplished, that I've done, that I've, you know, been a woman of my word, that I made good on, you know, because we just accomplish all of these things and check off these lists and just keep going. We don't even stop and celebrate. You know what I'm saying? We don't celebrate these milestones. We don't celebrate the growth, the changes that we've gone through. And I think we have to do more of that. So that's it. I just wanted to encourage you guys to, you know, take a minute to celebrate what you've accomplished, give yourself credit, and make sure you give yourself grace, okay? Because you handed it out to everybody else. Make sure you hand it out to yourself, all right? So that's it, y'all. Let me go ahead and get into the story time. This story is centered around our main character, Tiana Washington. So Tiana is in her mid-30s, and she is a high school teacher. You know, she always wanted to be a teacher. You know, her mother was a teacher, and she just felt like she could really make a difference. So she teaches 10th grade. She teaches history, and, you know, she really enjoys what she does. Like, she makes it fun for herself and makes it fun for the students as well. So she has a really great rapport with her classroom. You know, she's always, you know, rated as one of the top teachers at the school. People always want her class because of her approach. You know what I mean? Like, she's really cool. She's fun. And also, to the way that she teaches, she makes it very easy to retain the information, you know, that she's teaching. So, you know, this is like a Wednesday. It's a typical day. You know, she's teaching right in the middle of a lesson, and there's a knock at the door. And it's one of the administrators outside of the door. And she, you know, pokes her head outside, and they're like, hey, I need you to come to the office. You know, you have a phone call, a very important phone call. So, you know, she excuses herself and she makes her way to the office, and she picks up the phone, and it's the hospital. And it's the hospital telling her that her husband, Kenneth, has been in a really bad car accident, right? So she rushes to her, classroom, grabs her things, gets to her car. They bring in a sub, of course, and she rushes to, her car, and she's just shaking because she doesn't know how bad it was. They haven't really given her any details, but just telling her to get to the hospital, right? And, she is so like shook that she can't even think to like call Kenneth's family, because she just wants to make sure that he's okay. She wants to see like what condition he is in before she calls anybody. So she gets to the hospital, they tell her where to go, and she finds out that he's in surgery, and she's just, anxious. So at this point, she has made a couple of phone calls to his family. And I want to say this too, she doesn't have the best relationship with his family, but obviously she wants to let them know what's going on with him. So she's still there by herself, pacing back and forth. And she's been there probably about 30 or 40 minutes. And, the doctor comes out, and you could tell that it's not about to be good news. And he tells her like, I'm sorry, but, we couldn't save Kenneth. And she's just there by herself, and she nearly just faints. And one of the nurses, comes and comforts her and holds her. And as she's crying, Kenneth's family walks in. And of course, them seeing the reaction, and how she's responding, it doesn't look good. So they're rushing to her. And of course, they find out that Kenneth passed away. And it's just all these emotions, and of course, the family feels horrible that they didn't get to say bye. Of course, she didn't get to say bye. And they had a whole life ahead of them. They had only been married for 5 years. They hadn't had kids yet. When they started everything off in their life, they struggled financially. They had all these sacrifices they had to make, and like I said, she didn't get along with his family. So, they had counted their relationship down and out, that they weren't going to make it and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they overcame a lot of stuff to make their marriage work, and this is just a lot for her. It really is, just having to now be a widow, having to plan a funeral that she never thought that she'd plan. Her and Kenneth were around the same age. He was healthy, but anything can happen at any time. He got struck by an 18-wheeler, and yeah, so it was just a lot, and so now she's, dealing with the insurance, dealing with writing an obituary, dealing with the funeral home, dealing with all these different things, and his family is in her ear making these special requests and arrangements. And she's like, Kenneth didn't even want that. Like, the shit that y'all are asking about, he did not want that, So they're pushing and pulling and being petty and just all these different things, these requests that they're making, the food requests that they're making for the repast. Like, a lot of it, she just wants to throw the towel in. But she's like, you know what? I'm not going to let you guys win. Like, I've let y'all win so many times while we were together. You know what I'm saying? During the holidays and shit like that. And no. This one, I'm putting my foot down. Like, I'm the one that's going to make the decisions about his funeral. I'm his wife, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Period. Like, I'm sorry. That is it. So, she makes the funeral arrangements, and it's just the hardest day of her life. It really is, And her best friend, Kelsey, is there, to comfort her. Her family comes in town as well. And it's just hard. Like, she's just kind of checked out, completely checked out, really going through the motions, really can't believe that she is attending her husband's funeral. Having to view the body was just too much, giving the approval when they were getting his body prepped. Like, everything was just so much. Like, she really can't believe that she made it through without passing out. You know what I'm saying? Like, she really can't believe that she made it through, right? So she made it through everything, right? So she gets through the repast, gets through everything, you know what I'm saying? And of course, we all know how it works. Like, once someone passes away, you're getting the cards, the phone calls, the text messages, people are checking on you, but eventually that stuff fades, right? So I'm gonna say about 3 or 4 weeks after he's passed away, all of those conversations and stuff have stopped. People have stopped calling, people have stopped checking on her, and it's just now her by herself, And it's hard for her. Like, this is hard to deal with, coming to an empty home, And for her, she was the one that really pushed for them to kind of put it off to have kids, because she really wanted to focus on her career, because ultimately she wants to be a principal. And she wishes that she hadn't have pushed, because at least, what if they had kids? What if they had kids running around the house, and the kids could help her get through this hard and rough patch of her life, right? So she's just kind of beating herself up, feeling really guilty about them not having kids or whatever. And she's just like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through. I have no idea how I'm gonna get through this thing, right? So she ends up calling her best friend Kelsey, and she tells Kelsey, like, hey, I know that your lease is about to be up at your apartment complex, and this may sound crazy, but would you be open to, you know, coming to live with me? You know, I got this big 4-bedroom house. Everything in here reminds me of Kenneth. And I don't know, like that would give me so much peace if you were here, you know. And if you don't want to live here, I get it. But if you could at least come by more often, that would be really helpful. And so she's just like, of course, like, yeah, you know, and she's like, look, you don't have to pay rent or anything. Just be here with me, and your company will be very, very helpful to get me through this. And she's like, of course, yes. So, you know, like 2 or 3 weeks go by, and Kelsey packs up a lot of her stuff. She puts most of it in storage, brings, you know, mainly her clothes pretty much, because obviously the house is already decorated and there's really nothing for her to set up other than like her room that she'll be staying in. So she brings a couple of things, but most of her stuff she puts in storage. So she gets there, she's, you know, moved in about 3 weeks. And, you know, it's great to be with, you know, great to be with Tiana every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good to see her best friend every day. Of course, she hates to see herself down and out and, you know, grieving heavily. And, you know, of course, like at this point, she's on a leave of absence, and her school is working with her. Like, they're not pressuring her to come back. You know, they gave her, you know, a lot of places want to give you 3 days. They want to give you 3 days when someone passes away, and they expect you to come back and perform and be, you know, in a good mood and be able to be effective at your job and everything. But like I said, her school is very understanding. The school district, you know, has extended her a lot of time and grace in terms of like, you know, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, your mental health, and your job will be here. They've assured her of that, you know, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that she was such an exceptional teacher. Like, teachers like her are kind of hard to come by in the school district, so they don't want to lose her, right? So they're really working with her. So, you know, having Kelsey at the house now just feels really good. Like, it feels good, you know, having somebody to watch TV with, having someone that cooks for her, just having someone to eat dinner with, and having somebody to be there for her. More importantly, you know, when she has these moments when she just breaks the fuck down, like she just has these moments where she just breaks down, you know what I'm saying? Like, where she literally feels like collapsing, you know, and feeling like she wants to die herself. You know what I mean? Because this is not how it was supposed to go. You know, this is not how they saw life happening. I mean, you can never plan for the unexpected, but it wasn't supposed to be like this, right? So yeah, having Kelsey around is a huge, huge help. So Kelsey comes home one day and she's like in this really, really good mood. And, you know, Tiana notices as soon as she walks through the door, right? And so she's looking at her smiling. She was like, what, you got some good news? She was like, can you tell? She was like, yeah, I could tell. She was like, yeah, I have some good news. So sit down. So, you know, Tiana sits down. Kelsey sits next to her. And she's like, okay, what's the good news? And so she's just sitting there. Then she starts rubbing her stomach. She was like, okay, are we playing gestures? Are we playing charades? So she keeps on rubbing her belly. She was like, I'm missing it. She was like, what do you think this means? I don't know. I don't know. Do you have gas? She was like, girl, no, I'm pregnant. She was like, you're pregnant? What? Like, she's so elated, overjoyed, gives her this big ass hug, and then leans back and is like, who you pregnant by? She's like, girl, I'm not even gonna get into all of that. It was some dude, you know, I met him at a bar. We started sleeping together. Nothing ever came of it. We never went out, never did anything together. It was just sex. She was like, so you pregnant by a random? And she was like, I mean, if that's what you want to call it. She was like, is that what you want for yourself? Is that what you want for you and your baby? She was like, look, things don't always go as planned, but I mean, I always wanted a baby, so now I'm about to have one. And she was like, I mean, congratulations. Like, I'm happy for you, but I hate that it's like this. Like, raising a kid by yourself is like not easy. She was like, yeah, I know. But I mean, okay, I know that, you know that. That's not anything new. Like, don't ruin my moment. You know, like, I'm happy that I'm just pregnant. You know, can you support me through that? Like, I'm supporting you through your grief. Support me through my decision to have this baby. She was like, I do support you. I do. Congratulations. I'm really happy for you. Right. So, you know, she ends up, you know, cooking for Kelsey that night, like a celebratory meal. And she makes her favorite dish. They sit and eat together. They laugh, you know, just start reminiscing about their childhood and stuff like that. And so a couple weeks go by and, you know, it's just like life as usual, you know, and Tiana's getting to a place where she feels like that she might be ready to go back to work, but you know, she's kind of like still kind of playing around with the idea of like, am I ready, you know? And, you know, she's just talking to Kelsey, talking through everything with her, like telling her, like, I think I might be ready to go. And Kelsey's like, are you sure? Like, I don't know. Like, I think that you still feel really fragile. I think it's like, you know, being around the kids will keep you busy and stuff like that. But I don't know. But, you know, she's also like, I mean, being around the house isn't helping. Like, everything in here reminds me of Kenneth. And she's like, well, maybe it's time to get rid of some things. And she was like, get rid of them? Like, why would I do that? Like, how else am I going to remember him? She was like, you guys had, what, you guys were together, what, 7 or 8 years? You have a lot of memories, a lot of pictures, all the trips you guys have taken. There's so many things that you have to remind you of Kenneth. Like, I don't think it's going to hurt to get rid of some of his stuff. Like his clothes, for example. What's the point of holding on to his clothes? I mean, and forgive me for saying this. If you get to a point where you want to move on and you start dating somebody else, are you going to let this man wear Kenneth's clothes? Like, no. Like, so why not donate the clothes somewhere else? You know what I'm saying? Give them to somebody that needs them. And so, you know, Tiana sits with the idea and she's like, you know, that's not a bad idea. You're right. You know, that is something I could let go. I could let go of the clothes and then maybe I can figure out what's next, if anything is next after that. So, you know, she gathers up all of his clothing, you know, Kelsey helps her, they get all this stuff together, get it packed up, and they drop it off, you know, at a donation center. And, you know, she actually kind of feels relieved, like dropping off his clothes, knowing that he's going to help someone in need. You know what I'm saying? That because he had a lot of suits, a lot of nice shirts, a lot of nice shoes, a lot of things that were unworn, still had tags on it. So she feels good that somebody is going to be able to feel good about themselves, you know what I'm saying, by dressing nice, you know, feeling on the up and up because of, you know, what they have on. So she feels really good once they leave the donation center. You know what I mean? And then she thanks Kelsey, like, thank you, you know, for talking me into that. You know what I mean? Like, I never would have done that. Like, I never would have done it on my own, right? And so, you know, they go home and then it's like the next day, and the time is just going on at this point, right? And so Tiana eventually goes back to work and, you know, everybody is just so welcoming and warm and patient and loving and kind. And, you know, like her students are really happy to see her. Like they have these banners and flowers and balloons. So they have this big celebration of her return. And it just feels good to be welcomed back like that. You know what I mean? And like, they're just like, we genuinely missed you. Like, we're so sorry what happened. And we really, really missed you. We're glad that you're back. And we hope that you can make you feel better. You know what I'm saying? Like her students are like, we hope that we can make you feel better. You make us feel better about ourselves. We hope that we can make you feel better about your situation. You know what I'm saying? So she's glad that she's finally decided and finally in a place to get back to work, right? So at this point, she's probably back to work for about a week or two. And she comes home one night, you know, and, you know, her and Kelsey sitting around talking and they're looking at a photo album. And it's all these pictures of, you know, Kenneth and Tiana when they went to Disneyland. They went to Disneyland for the first time a couple years ago, and they were just like big kids. You know, she had on the Mickey ears and he was carrying her around the park. She was on his back. You know, they talked about the rides and how expensive the food was, how expensive the tickets were, but just how much fun it was. Like everything was completely worth it. You know, going to California for the first time and getting the chance to be these big ass kids at Disneyland. You know what I mean? Like it felt like a dream. So she has a whole photo album dedicated to this trip to California, and a big part of it was them going to Disneyland, right? So she feels so good and at peace, just like having these memories rushing in and just, you know, remembering Kenneth and who he was, you know what I'm saying, and what he stood for. And, you know, she just feels really good in this moment, right? So Tiana steps away for a second and then she comes back. She sits next to Kelsey on the couch and there's like silence for a minute and she goes, is there something you'd like to tell me? And, you know, Kelsey's like, I don't think so. Let me think. I told you about my day. I gave you an update on the baby. I don't think so. Was there something I said I was going to tell you that I forgot to mention to you? She's like, no, I'm just asking. And so there's like this awkwardness because she's like, I mean, is she fishing for something? Like she's thinking like, what? That just felt real random, right? And so they're just sitting there in silence. And then Tiana leans over the couch because when she came back, she had this envelope in her hand or whatever that she set on the side of the couch. And so she reaches for this yellow envelope. It's a big yellow envelope, and she hands it over to Kelsey. And Kelsey goes, what's this? And so Tiana says, look inside. And so Kelsey slowly opens the envelope and it's a stack of pictures. And she notices that you know, it's pictures of her and Kenneth. Kelsey and Kenneth are in every single picture in this stack. They're at hotels, they're getting ice cream, they're at the park, they're in cars, they're walking down the street. Like it's just so many different pictures and different angles and different days because you see the dates at the bottom of the pictures and just all these months of them spending time together. And there's nothing Kelsey can say. I mean, because the pictures don't lie. And she just hangs her head. So Tiana's like, you don't have to say anything. She was like, you know, I can do all the talking. She was just like, you know, about 4 months ago, I don't know, Kenneth just changed. He just came home like a brand new fucking person, you know, and I knew that man like the back of my hand. And one thing I will always say is that behavior tells you everything you need to know about a person. And he just changed, you know, no rhyme, no reason, couldn't explain it. And, you know, all that I'm at the office late, that shit wasn't good enough for me. You know, I had to know and get down to the bottom of it. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't about to run around town following his ass. So I hired a private investigator to see what was up, you know. And around the same time, ironically, you started acting a little different too, Kelsey. But I mean, did I think that you were fucking my husband? Of course not. Like, I thought that you were just going through something, you know, whatever. And, you know, when the PI came back with these pictures, my fucking mind was blown. I could not believe you guys were sleeping around with each other, going to our favorite places, holding hands in public. Like, how do you hold hands in public with a married person as if someone else may not see you? Like, do you know how comfortable you have to be and how disrespectful that is? Like, you guys couldn't even keep your shit behind closed doors. Like, that is so wild to me. I you know, for the life of me, I just don't understand. So Tiana's like, you know, I have to ask, is that Kenneth's baby? Are you pregnant by my husband? And so Kelsey hangs her head and she's like, I'm ready. No, I don't want to hear I'm sorry. Answer the question. Are you pregnant by Kenneth? And so Kelsey takes some time. She breathes in, breathes out, really collects herself. And she says, yes, I am. This baby belongs to Kenneth. It is 100% his. And she's like, okay. So she's just like, I mean, I can get my things. I can leave. No, you don't have to leave. And she was like, well, why did you ask me to come here to begin with? Like, if you knew all of this, why did you ask me to come here? Like, why? Why would you do that to yourself? She's like, because the reality is, like, we both lost somebody that we loved. You know? You don't know how many nights I sat and looked through those pictures to see how you guys look at each other. Kenneth loved you and you loved him. Or you still love him. I'm sure you still do. So I saw how you cried at the funeral. I saw how you looked. And that's why I invited you here. Because we both lost somebody. And also, too, I'm going to help you raise that baby. Because you know what? Also, in all this investigation, I know that your lease is not coming to an end. I know that you're being evicted. I know that you haven't been at your job. I don't know what you've been doing every day. But I know you don't have a job either. I know all of that. And I'm going to help you get your shit together. And I'm going to help you take care of that baby. And she's like, why would you do something like that? Why? Like, who in their right mind would want to raise this baby because that baby belonged to my husband? And that's the last thing that I have of him. That's the last thing on this earth. So you have something that, you know, I don't have. But that baby is a part of Kenneth. And I'm going to make sure that that baby is okay. I am. I know people would probably call me crazy for doing some shit like that. But that's just where I am with it. That's where I am with it. And yeah. So, you know, they go on to, you know, she helps Kelsey through her pregnancy. Kelsey has has the baby, 8-pound boy. And of course, as he, you know, grows and gets bigger, the more and more he looks like Kenneth. And of course, that's hard for Tiana. You know what I mean? But for her, she feels like just grateful that she at least has this baby versus no baby at all. You know, something to remind her of her husband. You know, I don't think that the average person would do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Be so forgiving and allow Kelsey in their house like that. But Tiana was just in that place. I think just losing her husband so unexpectedly, you know what I mean? And that just being it, not being able to confront him about everything, not being able to resolve their issues or anything like that, that her mindset just shifted to somewhere else. You know what I mean? So, you know, Tiana and Kelsey go ahead and raise this baby together. They do. You know, they give this baby a happy and healthy environment. You know, he has 2 parents, a parent in Tiana, a parent in Kelsey. And, you know, Kelsey is, of course, just grateful, constantly asking for forgiveness for what she did. And, you know, Tiana gets to a place where she does forgive her. You know what I'm saying? They are able to reestablish trust. And this is a way out situation, definitely a one-off situation. But I do believe extreme situations like this can happen and have happened. You know, this is the ultimate, being the bigger person. This is ultimate for sure. You know, I don't think I could ever do what Tiana did, you know. But yeah, she did all of this because, you know, even though Kenneth fucked up, what he did was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, she still wanted to take care of the thing that belonged to him, that was still here on this earth. So that is the story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. I will meet you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Make the best of the day. Be good to yourself. Peace.
I be beaming, I be booming down that block. Everywhere you